I already told you. So many times you are asking the same question. I hope this is the sixth time or seventh time you are asking the same question. I already told you. Next month 20 will be the last day of working for this. Before that, it will be between 17 to 20 that will be completed. I already told you now, during the database communication level only, Python with Oracle communication time only, I said again and again, please don't ask me, student. If you want to complete it tomorrow only, don't come tomorrow onwards to the class, so that your course will be completed. Okay, now that is the only thing. Today only want to complete, you can terminate the today meeting itself. That is only my advice. Gnaneswar, is it clear? This announcement is clear. So I hope you are asking the same question from last so many days onwards. Now I'm going to say continuation of what are the advantages of object-oriented principles. Let's start with this. So completion of course, don't think about it. How deeply we understand, that is an important. Are we reading or not? First, that is an important. Without reading, if you attend the class. So coming to the point of it. Now I'm going to introduce what, advantages of what? Oops, we are going to discuss. Okay, fine. So let us talk about, and nobody will cover in Python this many contents. Nobody will cover it. I said in the day one only, you compare our course content with anybody, 80% will be more than every notes. I said, still we carry the same thing in the last day also. So completing course, what is that? This month ending also course is over. What you will do? You will also feel that course is over. But when you go to interview, what will happen? Definitely they will ask group speeches. And if anything not understand, not able to get from my notes, it's really remarkable, right or not? So we want to go for everything to cover. Whatever we said in the beginning day, I will go for that. So, so what is your sleeping and waking time, sir? Is it really required of? So let us move to the further. So coming to the point of it, what are the advantages of? Oops, instead of asking that time, you can ask me how many students are sleeping in the class. If you ask, that is better. So my sleeping time, if you take it, 10:30 p.m. and then 5 a.m. This is my wake up time. This is not one day. It's my almost I can say 26 years onwards. This is my conclusion. In my intermediate time, 10+1 onwards, maybe 10 o'clock, 10+1 residential college, 10 o'clock, and then 4:30 they make us to wake up, AM. Residential college timings this is. So this is the timing of residential. This is 10+1 level. So, okay now, shall I go for next? Now, I'll go to the advantages. Now, actually, in real-time applications, look at students. In real-time applications, to develop any application or any project, to develop any application or project, we need to take a language. We need to choose a language. That language, using that language, we develop any app, any business app, any application, we develop it. And this language, the language which are available in the real world as on today, can satisfy two principles. Any language or any app you want to develop it, compulsory it need to take a language. Without language, we cannot develop any single application. So the language what we select, the language what we select definitely will satisfy what we select, will satisfy two types of principles. Two types of principles. Two types of principles. They are number one, which we might be learned in C language. What are those? Procedure oriented, because you have to listen this class very carefully to understand the beauty of object oriented programming. Procedure oriented principles. Procedure oriented principles. Procedure oriented principles. Second one is called what you know? Object oriented principles. Object oriented principles. So procedure oriented principles, and next is called what? Object oriented principles. What is object oriented principles? What are procedure oriented principles? I just want to give an example here. Under this, if we come to the example languages, C is one of the procedure oriented programming language, and 8086 is one of the object or procedure oriented programming language. And next, Pascal, whether you know it or not, I don't know. Pascal, and still as on today, IBM mainframes people will use it. COBOL, and next up to Oracle, up to Oracle 7.3, up to Oracle 7.3, etc. These languages are comes under procedure oriented principles. As on today, I can say, as on today, any language, any new language is coming, definitely it is not a POP language. Definitely it is not a procedure oriented programming language. As on today, any new language comes, it is not POP language, procedure oriented programming language. It always belongs to what? Belongs to OOP language, object oriented language, because it has certain limitations are present. It has certain limitations are present. What are those limitations? I will explain to you. Now, when you come to this Python, I will write separately. Python is also called what? One of the procedure oriented programming language. Procedure oriented programming language is also called what? Functional programming language we can call. Functional programming also we can call. Procedure oriented principles are nothing but functional principles we can call. Python also belongs to what? Functional programming language. That is a procedure oriented programming language. Now, under object oriented programming languages, if you come, under object oriented programming languages will come C++ is an object oriented programming language. Java, next is called C#.NET. C#.NET from Oracle 8 onwards. Oracle 8 onwards. Next is called what you know? Oracle 8 onwards. Object Pascal. Object Pascal. I am writing here. Object Pascal. Next is called what? Object COBOL. Object COBOL. These are also comes under what? Etc. Ruby. So many things which are available as on today. Everything belongs to what? Object oriented. And Python is also one of the object oriented programming language. That means Python belongs to both functional, that is called procedure oriented, as well as what? Object oriented. Whether you remembered or not, from the beginning of the sessions, even Python belongs to both what? Functional and what? Object oriented. Python belongs to both functional and object oriented programming language. If we look at internally, all things, all values, everything in Python stored in the form of objects. And you are seeing from the day one onwards, we used to say this sentence. What is that now sentence, students? A is equal to 10. What is 10? Literal, stored in where? A. What is A here? Print of A comma type of A. From the day one onwards, we used to say, what we used to write, students? Class int we used to write it. Int. What is this int is called? Class. What is A is known as? Object. From the day one onwards, we used to say the sentences. What is A? Is an object. Even though we store the values in a normal programming, everything is stored in the form of what? Object. So all things, everything treated as what? Everything is treated as what? Object. Treated as object. You take modules, you take it. Modules, you take it. You take functions, you take it. You take functions. You take exceptions, you take it. You take even files, you take it. You take database communication, you take it. What else? You take functions also, you take it. Functions. Every function name is also what? Object. Every function name is also an object. Of which type? Function. Every function name is also called what? Object. Of which type? Class function. Did you understand this point? All things are treated as what? Objects. All things are treated as an object. So why everything is treated as an object? It is only for easiness they gave it as a functional programming. But in Python, everything is treated as what? Object. You see one more time. L is equal to list of. L is equal to list of. What is this L? Object. Object. How we used to add the data? L dot add append of. L dot append of some value. L dot append of some more value. What is this L is called? Object. And what are this list is called? Class. From the day one onwards, we are taking everything in the form of what? Object. So Python is an object-oriented functional programming. Both. It is a both. But even though Python belongs to both functional and then our procedure are object-oriented, internally treated as what? Object-oriented. Because everything you observe it is treated as which type? Object type only. Getting my point? So what are the advantages of treating everything is an object? So now I am writing everything is an object. Everything is an object. Everything is an object. In Python, what are the benefits? What are the benefits? What are the benefits? So what are the benefits of treating everything is an object? Indirectly, what are the advantages of object-oriented programming languages? So the first and foremost important thing, and especially because of treating everything is an object, can you tell me any one of the benefit which you observed in the class? Come on. Because of everything is an object, what will be the first benefit? You almost forget, of course, I know that, but at least only one or two students. So coming to the point of it, because of everything is an object, Ashwin Patil is the perfect student. Unlimited data size we can store it. Because of object, everything can be stored unlimited. You know that. Yeah, all objects, especially I wrote Python here. I'm discussing object-oriented advantages in using Python. All object stores what data? Unlimited amount of data, which I have observed it practically in the class. Unlimited amount of data. Unlimited amount of data. Is it explained or not? Explained. All the objects stores unlimited amount of data. Next, so that all the object stores unlimited amount of data. You take C++, you take it. You take Java, you take it. There also objects will be there. Those objects are what? Size restricted, size dependent. If I create an object only with 4 values, only 4 values can be stored. But in the case of Python, if I design an object, that will take only what? In Python, if I create an object, any amount of data we can add it. That is called what? Unlimited. Large amount of data can be stored in Python objects. Second one is what? Of course, second one, I need to tell you now. See, students, if you take a C programming, how the data will be transmitted? You take the C language, you take it. Suppose, for example, I am developing one business application, one app I developed it, one app I developed it, one app I developed it. Like iMobile app I developed it. iMobile app is an ICICI banking uses. Or you take an Amazon app, you take it. Or you take Uber app, you take it. Any Ola app, you take it. All types of apps, you take it. Or you take any web application, you take it. Any web application is not but website. You take an ATM center where we can access across the globe. Any two-tier applications, you take it. When the data is transmitted from one layer of the application to another layer of the application, when the data is transmitting from one layer of the application to where another layer of the application, that is called M2. When the data is visiting from one layer of the application to another layer of the application over the network, the data is visiting only in the form of what? Plain text. Plain text. Plain text means what? Whatever the way we are entering, in the same way only the data will be transmitted to the other machine. Whatever the data you are entering, in the same manner the data will be visited over the network also. Suppose you are entering a PIN number of yours. PIN you are entering. That PIN is entering something like what? 4092 you are entering, for example. How this 4092 will be entered, even transmitted over the network? In the form of same way 4092 only. If any intruder or hacker will trap this data, is it not leading to problems of manipulation of the data? So that leads to security problems in the case of what? Purely functional programming language. So functional programming languages by default not containing what? Ciphertext transmission of the data. There is no ciphertext transmission. There is no end-to-end transcription. There is no end-to-end encryption. It is only transmitting the data in the form of plain text. Plain text gives you what? Security problems. In the case of Python, if we go for it, in the case of any object-oriented programming, if you go for it, when you are transmitting the data over the network, the data when I am taking it, Python when you take it, any sort of data when you are going to send over the network, the data will be sending in the form of what? Ciphertext. Ciphertext is nothing but what? Human unreadable form, encrypted format will be sending not only in Python objects, in any language objects if you take it, the data will be sending in the form of what? Ciphertext, also called as encrypted format we can call. Encrypted format you can call. Encrypted format you can call. Yes, exactly in the form of what? Bytes it is going to send. Even in the network programming we are going to discuss in the class, there I am going to tell you, all the data will be transmitted between two remote machines in the form of what? Ciphertext or what? Encrypted format it is going to send. In the form of what? Bytes it is going to be transmitted. So what is the difference between sending the data in the form of ciphertext and plain text? Ciphertext will give you security. Plain text will give you problems of security. So all object-oriented, the confidential data, I can write it. Confidential data transmitted between two remote applications, in the form of what? In the form of what? Ciphertext. Nothing but what? Encrypted format, but not in the form of ciphertext, and enhances what? Security. Enhances security here. So, but not in the form of what? Plain text. So plain text gives you what problems? Security problems. This is called one more kind of important property. Second property when you come to here, when you are going to take the traditional functional programming languages, normally, this is called a mission M1, this is called a mission M2, same. any type of application, two applications are interacting over it. Suppose I am having 100 bytes of data is there, for example. 100 bytes of data is there, for example, in machine 1. If I write a C programming, that is called functional programming language, if I take it, if I want to transfer this 100 bytes of data, this C language programming will transfer that 100 bytes of data value by value, it will transfer. It is nothing but byte by byte, it will transfer. Byte by byte, it will transfer. Byte by byte transmission will take how much time? More time or less time? More time. It takes what? Poor communication it will take. It will take poor communication. Poor communication it will take. And not only taking poor communication, during your transmission of data, 50 bytes are transferred. Next to 50 bytes, when you are about to transfer, some network problem is taken place. So is it not a waste of time of transferring this first 50 bytes of data? So that gives you the problem of it. So either you transmit all at once or don't transmit at all. So that indicates what? You transfer. When I come to object-oriented programming languages, keep this 100 bytes of data in where? Object, and send the object all at once. It is known as what, all at once transmission we can call. What transmission it is? All at once transmission. All at once transmission will take what time? Which time it will take? Effective communication will be provided. So transferring all at once is better, transferring value by value is better. All at once is better. Effective communication is provided. So how this effective communication is provided? Keep these individual values into an object and send this entire object once to the destination mission, which is known as what? All at once transmission. So you are coming to the class by keeping everything in your bag. By keeping everything in your bag. Is it not called object terminology you are following? You are going to your native place from Hyderabad to your native place. You are keeping everything in the object and you are going it. What is this is known as what here? Object we can call. Are we taking these values one by one and moving from Hyderabad to your native place one by one? No. All at once transmission is known as what? Object transmission we can call. So the large volume of data, I'm writing here, the large volume of data. So large volume of data transmitted, this is also one important thing, students, transmitted between what? Between two remote applications. I'm writing between two remote applications in the form of all at once. And enhances and achieves and gets which communication? Effective communication is getting. Effective communication is achieved. Important, students. Every interview will ask you what will be the advantages of object-oriented principles. This is number one. This is a third point of it. Getting here. Next one is called what? Next one. The large volume of data transmitted between two remote applications in the form of what? All at once, and gets which communication? Effective communication is provided. And the other part of the thing is here, in the best importance of object-oriented programming will be something like this. You come to the students once. If you come to functional programming language, if you come to object-oriented programming language, data will be, how the data storage will be, I just want to say. If I take data in functions, where the data will be stored in functions? The data stored in functions in two places. One is inside of a function call, that you have already seen even in our class also. Inside of function call. Second one is inside of function definition. Inside of what? Function definition. Two things you have seen at already in the class. What is that? Taking values, returning values. not taking values, not returning values. Have you observed it? So the data present in functional programming, either inside a function call or inside a function definition. If you follow me, a small example I want to present it. I'll write a small code. Observe it now. I want to compute, same Python only you take it, or C programming you take it. C programming you take it. Anything is okay, no problem. I want to compute sum I want to compute, sub I want to compute, multiplication I want to compute, and then division I want to compute. For example, what I will do here, sum of 10, 20. So 10, 20. What I will write it here, DEF sum of A comma B. I will write the logic or not. Next time writing what? Sub of 10 comma 20. What is happening? DEF sub of what I am doing? A comma B. Again I will write the logic. Next time writing MUL of 10 comma 20. And again I will write what? DEF of MUL of A comma B. Again I will write the logic. Next time writing DIV 10 comma 20. Again I am writing DEF. So what I am doing, DIV of A comma B. There I am going to write it. How many times I wrote the same data here? I passed the same data 4 times. Is it not a waste of redundancy of the code is more? Suppose if you don't write, feel that you don't pass the data here. Where are you? Just only function call. You are supposed to take A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 20. You need to take or not? You need to represent every time A is equal to B is equal to etc. Again, it is taking lot of time. If you go to, this is called what? Functional programming representation. So in functional programming representation, where the data is represented always, either inside the function call or inside the function body. That will take what? More memory it will take. Now, rather than that, if we go to object-oriented programming, keep the data inside of where? Keep the data inside of where? Object. A comma B, I will take it 1020. 1020. It is stored in the data stored in object. Stored in object. What are we doing? You see, O1 dot sum, I am saying students. O1 dot sum, like L1 dot append, like that. What is happening? DEF. What is this now? Sum, not passing any data here. There I am writing C is equal to what? A plus B, and print the data. What is this O1? What is this AB? AB belongs to which object? O1 dot you said. Next, what are you doing? O2 dot sub I am saying. What I am doing here? DEF sub of, I am writing there. C is equal to A minus B I am taking. What is this? A and B are called O2. O1 only. Not O2 students. O1 only. O1 only containing this data 10 and 20 or not? Now O1 dot what again? MUL. O1 dot what I am saying? DIV. On the same data, we are performing different operations. How many times I stored my data? 1 time, and I am reusing any number of times. So object data is always providing what? High-end reusability will be provided. A very high-fi reusability will be provided. So what I mean to say, in object-oriented programming, data is always present in where? Data is available around what? Objects, and your functions are operating on the objects. And the functions are operating on the object, students. Tell me, where is the data stored in? Objects. And the functions are operating on objects. Take it. Already we know that. Already we know, students. L is equal to list of. L is equal to list of. What I am doing? L dot append of. L dot append of. Pass the value. L dot append of, pass the value. L dot what? Remove off. L dot remove off. Is it not all append, copy, everything object, working on object only now? So data stored in where? Object. All functions are operating on what? Objects only. So which storage representation is better? Object storage representation will save a lot of memory actually. So in object oriented programming, because of treating everything is an object, the data is always available around the objects, data is always available around the objects, and achieved what we achieved, less memory space is achieved, and we get what? High reusability will be getting. Are you able to get it? We are using the same data for different type of purposes. I hope you are understanding, students. Are you following me? In simple word, I'll tell you one best example to you. You are saving your contact number in your mobile, right? How many times you are saving your contact number? Once only you are saving. That contact number you are using for how many times? Mobile is called an object, student. Your mobile is called an object. Your contact number is called what? Data. And you are using that mobile number for how many purposes? One is using for call. One more you are using for chat. One more you are using for financial transaction, anything you want to send it. And you are using the same thing for video call. The same thing you are using for different operations or not. So how many times your contact number is stored in? One time. And many times I am reusing the same number for different things. Is it understandable? So object data storage is important. Object data storage is easy now. Without object, non-objects is taking is easy now. Object storage is easy. All types of application as on today stores the data is in around objects, and always gives you what? Less memory space, and provides high reusability will be coming. Are you getting? And one more most important thing is regarding the coding, you take it. Regarding the coding. Suppose I'm having certain coding things. Are you speaking, both of you? Listen the class. Don't think that by keeping like this, sir will not observe it. So don't apply your own techniques. Sir is also one student only. Okay. Sit separately. I'm observing beginning of the class. Don't think, don't come to danger zone, student. You don't think sir will not observe it. And especially in my class, purity is important. You don't think that sir will not observe. Sir is also one day is a student. Sir also did the same thing. Right? And especially in my class, only you take the subject. Other than that, no. Doubt is there? Do you have doubt? Then why do talk more? After the class, any work is there? Nothing now? So learn comfortably. Now, almost all you came to the class now. You enjoy that. You enjoy that coding. So the coding, I wrote a function. I wrote one function called what? OTP generation is my function. This OTP generation function you are having in functional programming. How can I reuse in another program which you have the knowledge so far? By using modules, right? By using modules. What is my program name? X.py. I will import what? X. I will say what? X.what? OTP. So that even though you did not write the code, that code is substituted in the next program. Substituted compulsory. Only thing you are getting advantage, you are not writing the code. You are getting as it is. Correct? And other person who is there in other machine also can use it. With the help of what? Packages. That time also when they are going to be saying sys.path.append and Python path and all those things, there also only thing you are not writing the code, but the code is substituted as it is. But when you come to OOPS, when you come to object-oriented programming, do you know what is happening? There is one facility is available called what, students, you know? Inheritance is available. What is inheritance is available? What is this inheritance is? Neither writing the code, that is what you get it already in the modules, nor taking memory space also. It won't take the memory space. We'll get the result as it is. In functional programming with modules and packages, what is happening? Code is substituted. But you are not writing the code. Not writing the code is an advantage. But substituting the code will take some memory space. But when you come to OOPS, inheritance concept is there. Neither we write the source code like functions, nor taking the memory space also. This is an extra advantage. So inheritance concept will provide you what? Code reusability will be provided. This is called what? Data reusability. Code reusability is also very good in object-oriented programming. Are you getting my point? So coming to the point of it, code reusability also we are going to get it. Not only data reusability, code reusability is also one of the most important facility in the class, in the OOPS. So which is going to be done by what? Inheritance. In the programming, I will show you all these things. Did you understand these parts here? So, Tushar, exactly. That's called virtual existence. We feel that it is there, but in reality, it is not taking any memory space. Are you getting my point? Suppose online students are there. Are they sitting in the class? Are they having any memory space? No, but they are going to take them. They are going to listen the class or not? Yes, offline students are taking memory space, but online students are not taking memory space in my class. So final conclusion is virtual existence means what? Code reusability will be provided by using what? Inheritance, which I'm going to discuss in detail about it. Data reusability and then code reusability. These are the benefits of object-oriented programming. So I'm not talking about the C language procedure or procedure-oriented principles, because our course is Python. Python is both functional as well as what? Object-oriented. And even though Python belongs to both the functional and object-oriented, Python programming is internally everything treated as what? Objects only. And because of object, what are the benefits I said? So if you follow me carefully, students, I'm just saying that one small documentation I'll show you, because you almost understand everything, our notes tell. You just start taking it. So read out this now. In real time, to develop any project or application, we must choose a language and it can satisfy two types of principles. They are functional or procedure-oriented principles. That is functional we can call, procedure-oriented you can call, any one of it. Examples I wrote it here. Python also one of the functional programming language. Second is what? Object-oriented principles. Python comes under object-oriented. C++ comes under object-oriented. Java comes under, .NET comes under. Majority of the languages which are available in nowadays are all comes under object-oriented principles. I hope you are following me. Even though Python programming belongs to functional and object-oriented programming language, internally everything is treated as object. So what are that? Now I am giving some small points. Everything is an object, benefits or advantages of object-oriented principles. So let us start with here. Object allows us to store large volume of data, platform independent in Python, because it can run on any of the operating system without causing any problems. Data is visiting between two machines in the form of ciphertext encrypted format, so that we can achieve the security. The large volume of data can be transferred between multiple machines all at once in the form of objects and obtains effective communication. With the objects, we can build high effective reusable applications. That is called inheritance. Inheritance. Right? So a parent worked for 60 years and he got some 1 crore rupees, for example. And the parent child of that parent in the first day, whatever the properties are there with that parent, is it coming to the child or not? Is he really worked for 60 years? Huh? Is that 1 crore is available physically in the packet of child? Huh? No. When child want, parent will give. It is nothing but logically feeling, virtually feeling that 1 crore belongs to what? Child only. Is it understandable? What is this concept is called? reusability, that is the inheritance concept, and we should not tell that example in interview. And before going to the technical programming, I'm just saying some awareness for you. Okay. Now, when you go to Windows operating system development, you take your mobile apps development. All of them are internally following what? Reusability concept is following. I'll show you that. The data is always available around objects, effective memory usage, and functions can operate on where? Objects. List you take it, dictionary you take it, set you take it, tuple you take it. Almost all the objects are containing data. On that objects, our operations are going to perform. Set you take it, set data, union operation we performed, intersection operation, symmetric operation, all those things performed or not? All of them are belongs to what? Data present in object. Operations or work functions are operating on objects. That is known as what? Advantages and benefits of what? Object-oriented principles. So is it clear? Now, coming to my explanation, which is started with, now I'm going to continue with next continuation explanation I'm going to introduce. Continue the next part of it. Okay, we understand the importance of object-oriented programming, why we are going. Next, to say any programming language, is object-oriented. To say any programming language is what? Object-oriented. Then that language must satisfy what? Then that language must satisfy certain principles. What are the principles? To say a student is sincere, that sincere student will have certain principles or not? To say language is what? Object-oriented. To say language is object-oriented, that language has to satisfy certain principles. Certain principles has to be satisfied. Certain principles has to be satisfied. What are those principles? They are, number one, I am writing classes. Classes. Number two called what? Objects. Number three called what? Data encapsulation. Data encapsulation. Next, the third is called and fourth is called what? Data abstraction. It's always very important, students. And the fifth one is called what? Inheritance. And the sixth one is called what? Polymorphism. Polymorphism I am going to give you. Polymorphism. Are you able to get my points? And the sixth to seventh one is called message passing. This was already completed. Already discussed this one. Because we discussed a very detailed part of it. Same thing you can use it in OOPS also. Because functions concept as it is coming into OOPS. Actually, Python OOPS are very difficult because people can't understand as quickly as possible like previous classes. Whatever we written that one kind of programming, same thing we are writing with what? Object-oriented programming. Why AI is using this? Because object-oriented principles are providing these inbuilt properties. If I follow these syntaxes, these principles are coming automatically. So need not write any special coding for writing this type of object-oriented principles. If I follow these principles, we will be getting what? These advantages automatically. Now, some of the people, I'm saying that these kind of things, what are those? 3, 4, 5, 6 only people are feeling that it is called what? Object-oriented principles, they are saying. These things only saying that these are object-oriented principles. Some of the people will say. And only one question to those guys, ask me immediately if anybody says, sir, to write a program using inheritance, which concept is compulsory? To write a program using inheritance, compulsory, he will start with the concept of what? Class. You can put a question, what is class then? What is a class then? Class is a concept of what? It is not a concept of any of the language. It is a concept of what? Object-oriented principle. Only class cannot do anything else. I told you in the beginning, house plan, and you need to follow according to house plan, you need to create an object and all. Physical house is called object. The house plan is called what? Class. Only class cannot do anything. Compulsory, you need to create what? Object. Where do you store the data? In object only we can store the data. So class first, later object will come. When you go for encapsulation or abstraction or inheritance or polymorphism, mandatory to follow what? Yes. To pass the data between two objects, what is required? Message passing is required. Along with this 3, 4, 5, 6, if anybody says that only object-oriented principles, you put a question immediately. Write a program in inheritance and show me, you ask. You will use the word called what? Class. Then you can put a question, what is a class? In interview also, they will catch you like this. What is a class? And you don't know. People will not talk about a class, and that will be giving you the end of it. And nobody knows about object-oriented principles with the technically, including you people also. Your whoops was already whoops. That is not at all useful to you. And we are learning something new, which is totally tremendous. And it is not found in any one of the website. You watch the every topic website, you watch it. You will not get this much of course content what I am explaining. Notes also including. So I'm going to enter into what first? Class. So tell me, what is when do you say the language is object oriented? Any language is saying object oriented, that language must satisfy certain principles. What are those principles? Classes, objects, encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance. These principles are supposed to follow compulsory. And message passing was already discussed in the class. Positional arguments, default arguments, keyword arguments, variable length arguments. Keyword variable length arguments, you can use it even in OOPS also. So we are going to start. The pillars for learning object-oriented programming is classes and object. If you learn very perfectly, other things are dead easy. Now I'm going to say a simple mechanism I am going to show you. List of object-oriented principles. Just to try to understand, students, to say a language is object-oriented, it has to satisfy the following principles. Number 1, classes. Number 2, objects, encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, polymorphism, message passing. This is already discussed. Now we are entering into what concept? Classes. Online students, are you able to follow me? Is it understandable, students? Now I am going to introduce. What will be the concept of what? Classes. Now I am going to introduce slowly the concept of class. Very, very easy, students. Let's start with the concept of class. So carefully listen now. What exactly class concept is? Why we need this class concept all of a sudden? Let's take an example here. Suppose my requirement is I want to store directly, you take it. What is the purpose of class? That the first question is coming. If anybody asks you what is the class, everybody will say, who completed in their CSC background or something, class is a collection of objects, they will say. That is a default definition which is going to come across. I say it is a blunder. It's a blunder. I'm going to show you that how it is blunder. Using class, we will create object. Correct or not? So the house plan, what you are drawing, is not a collection of objects. The house plan, what you are drawing, is called what? Specification of my house. Is it a collection of objects? Huh? No. So take a requirement. I want to store student number, comma, student name, and next is called what? Marks, and what, college name. Marks, C marks, C++ marks, and next is called what, Python marks. I want to store. And next I want to store college name. How do you stay straightforward? You will take, tell me, L1 is equal to, straightforward will go to where? L1 is equal to 100 comma, row sum comma, you are writing something like, some 40, some 50 and 16, and then OU I am writing. Just like this I am writing. Since you are a student of my class, you are understanding that 100 is a number, name is this one, and a C marks, C++ marks are this one, and OU is called what? College name here. You are feeling something like that. This is my given data. Okay, well, now students, if I call one layman, I am showing that I'm showing this data. Will he understand that this is the first one is a number? Will he understand it is a number? Definitely he can't understand. He don't know. I'm not going to show this information to him. It is completely hidden. I'm asking what is Rosam. He don't know that it is a student name. He may be saying employee name or it is maybe a citizen name. What is 40, 50, 60 also he don't know. And what is OU also don't know. Right or not? So the storing the data inside of L1 is storing unlimited number of values. Unlimited number of values, no doubt in that. It is quite appreciable. But the data which I am keeping inside of L1 like this will not give a proper meaning to the other person. To understand that there is no proper meaning. So proper meaning means what you are expecting. 100 is number, Rosam is name, and 40, 50, 60 is called what? Marks, and then OU is called a college name. If you want to store more meaningfully, D1 is equal to, you may be writing like this. STNO colon, what are you writing? 100. Next time writing S name is equal to S name colon I am writing. S name colon I am writing. Something like Rosam I am writing. Next time writing something like C colon I am writing here 40. Next C++ is equal to CPP colon I am writing some 50. And next is called what, you know, Python. Now I am writing Python colon. Now I am writing 60. And next time writing C name is equal to C name colon I am writing OU. This is my given data written. Okay, by calling any layman, they can understand that this is going to be called what? It's my data. Are you following me? So data stored in where? Object. Anybody can understand that this is a number, this is a name, and then these are the marks. And this is called something. Now, I want the operation to perform as, I want the operations to perform here as, I want to calculate total marks. I want to calculate total marks. Think about it carefully. This is my customized operation. This is my customized operation. Customization means what? In my project, I want to develop my own function which will calculate total marks. Is this function, is this requirement fulfilled by dictionary object? Come on, quickly. Is this requirement is fulfilled by D1? No, first of all, you are not remembering functions of D1. That is the main problem. You are having copy function, you are having pop function, pop item function, get function, items function, keys function, values function, update function is there. But which function is not there? Calculating the total marks function is not there. Are you having? No, we are not having that. Now I want to find out the grade. Decide the grade. Decide the grade. Grade decision I want. Grade decision I want. Is it first class passing or second class or distinction passing? I want to go for this type of decision. Do you have any such function in the dictionary object? No. Now I want to go for what? Reading the values dynamically for what? Dictionary data. Reading values. Do you have any such function in dictionary object? No. These are all called which operations? What operations? These are all customized operations. Which operations? Customized operations. What this is known as? It is storing the data, okay. But I want to store the data like this. You see, STNO is equal to 10, comma, S name is equal to some name. S marks is equal to some name. And college name is equal to some name. Like this, I want to store with equal to format. What is the storage is known as? Customized data. Customized data. Customized data storage. Customized operations I want to do it. This kind of customized data, customized operations are not possible by what? Data types which we discussed already, right or not? What are the data types we have? 14 data types are there. 14 data types are having universal principles. Everybody can store the data, but we cannot go for storing which data? Customized data. And customized operations also you cannot perform. To both of them, we need to go for development of your own data types required, which are known as what? Programmer defined data types. Programmer defined data types. I want to go for it. What are the data types which you have seen previously? What data types you have seen? Predefined data types you have seen. How many predefined data types in Python? 14. Are they universal for every Python programmer or not? But we want to store our own data, customized data to store, customized operations want to store, which is required to develop what? Your own data type need to develop it, which is going to be known as what? Class concept is required. Which concept is required? Class concept. For example, I want to develop KVR list. List is called what type of class? Predefined class. KVR list is called which type of data type? Programmer defined data type, which is developed by using which concept? Class. What is the KVR list is called? A class. Is it the predefined or programmer defined? So every programmer defined class is one of the class name. So every class you are developing on your own is comes under which data type? Programmer defined data type. What is the use of programmer defined data type? To store customized data, customized operations. You take students, business apps you take it, business apps you take it, business apps you take it. You take iMobile app you take it of ICICI. They designed in such a way that all ICICI banking operations you can view. You take uMobile, you take it. This is Union Bank mobile operation. You take, they are having their own customized data. They are having their own customized data. You take it as Amazon, you take it as a Flipkart, you take it as a Meesho, you take it as a LinkedIn. These are all called business apps or not? They're all customized according to their own operational activities. So to develop our own business activities, we need to develop our own data type. That data type can be developed by what concept? Classes concept. So what is the purpose of classes concept? Now I am writing classes concept always used for development of which data type? Programmer defined data type. Programmer defined data type. And to develop any real-time application in OOPS. In OOPS, to develop any real-time application, first concept you will start with what? Classes. Any application in OOPS, if you want to start, you have to compulsory starts with what? Why do you use class concept? To develop programmer defined data type. To develop programmer defined data type. Why do you develop programmer defined data type? The purpose of developing, come on, the purpose of developing which data type? So developing programmer defined data type is that to store customized data, and what? Customized and to perform is a very important to perform customized operations. For this purpose, I want to develop my own class. Are you getting my point? So I will create what? Just a schema. S is equal to student of. S is equal to student of. You think like what? L is equal to list of. What is L here? Object of which class? What are the functions present inside of list class? Around 11 to 12 functions I said. And here S is an object of which class? What data operations I can perform? I can perform student related activities only. All student functions are present inside of a student. It is called customization of student data or not? E is equal to employee. E is equal to employee. What is E is called? Object of which one? Employee. What is E is known as? Object. Which can store which data? Employee data. Which can do what operations? Employee operation. T is equal to teacher of. T is equal to teacher of. T is called object. Teacher of is called what? Class. Are you getting my point? So T is called object, teacher is called a class, student, teacher, employee, these are all called what classes? Programmer defined classes. Very, very easy. Actually, OOPS is very, very big topic, very complexity for the people. But once you catch it, it is going to be dead easy. Do you understand why to go for our own class? Why do you go for your own class? To customize, to store the customized data, to store the customized operations. That's why we will go for what? Class. So first question will come. Any interviewer will go for it. They will ask you, what is the purpose of class? What is the definition of class? With the class, what you can do? Tell me, what is the purpose of class? To develop programmer defined data type. And to develop any real-time application in OOPS, you have to start with class only. Without classes concept, you cannot develop a single application in OOPS. You have to start with what? Object-oriented programming. You have to start with a class. With a class, what is possible? Customized data, customized operations possible. Okay, now? So tell me carefully, the purpose of programmer defined data type also you understand. Tell me now, if you catch it now, you take one small awareness student. I'm giving one general awareness for you. If you want to construct a house, you are contacting to one civil architect. He will give you what? House map will give you. House plan he will give you. Are you living inside of this house plan? Come on. Are you living inside of this house plan? No. What are we doing? We are just feeling that it is called our specification of our house. We are mentioning that what data to place, what operations you will do in which room, right or not? So this specification contains what data to store, what operations to perform. You are designing, Hyundai people want to design a new model of the car. They will give you front how many passengers, middle how many passengers, where is the steering, where are the AC variants, what is the dashboard controls, what will be the backside curtain point, what will be the airbag curtain points. They will give you all those things in the diagram. That means they will specify what data to store, what operations to perform, in where itself they will specify, in specification itself. But we can't sit inside of this house and we can't do that operation. It is called what actually? Class. So class will contain what? Data to store, and class will contain operations to perform. But will you really store there? No. Will you really perform the operation? No. In a diagram, there is a wheel, there is a steering is there. Will you sit in the diagram? Will you turn the wheel left side, right side? No. Based on that model, based on that plan, a physical component is created. That physical component is called what? There, whatever steering is there, same steering will come. Whatever the AC variants, whatever the dashboard controls are there, everything will come in the object. With the what? Memory space they are going to come. So what I'm trying to tell in this case is, house plan is called a class. When you are defining a class, you are supposed to specify which data members you are taking inside and which type of operations you are performing inside. Operations are nothing but what in our Python programming so far you learned, functions we can call, right or not? That functions in OOPS are known as what? Methods we can call. Spell out now. Methods. Methods. Functions are present inside the class. We call it as what? Methods. What methods are doing? Operations. What is this data is doing? To store the data. But data and methods are not containing any memory space inside of where? They are reflecting as it is to where? Object. So object is going to contain the physical appearance of my logical appearance of class. Whatever the action plan is there in my class, that are coming with the memory in where? Object. I hope you are understanding. Class is called what? Logical existence, and object is called physical existence. That's all. Java you take it, C++ you take it, .NET you take it. Wherever a class concept is coming, you just follow this. Tell me, what is the definition of class? Come on, definition of class. Definition of class. Chappale. Everybody must stay same. A class is a collection of data members. Data members. That means what things you want to store. Data members. There are types are there. Some types are there, which I will explain. And what? Methods. There also some types are there. Methods are there. What are the types we are going to see? A class is a collection of what? Data members and what? Methods. When you define a class, is it having memory space? No. So I'm writing one important point. Once we define a class, we don't get any memory space for what? Data members and methods. But whose memory space is created when we create an object. So object contains what? Object contains data members and the methods of what? Class specification. Whatever is there in the class specification, they are all coming as a part of what? Object. Mana blueprint lo emundo, whatever our blueprint contains, same thing will come in where? Object also. What is the difference between class and object? Plan is different. Implementation is different. Implementation is known as what? Object. Object is called what? Implementation. Before implementation, what will be there? A map is there, a blueprint is there. A blueprint, we cannot store the data. Where are we storing? Implementation of the blueprint is going to be called what? Object. That will contain the data members and methods. So where do you store the data now? In the object. That too in terms of what? Data members. And we perform the data on this, operations on this object. On what? Methods. That methods are already present in where? Class. Are you following? So coming to the point of it, I'm going to say purpose of class concept is this, and I'm writing one more thing. How do you define a function in our Python? DEF, function name, etc. How do you develop a lambda functions in our Python? Lambda, parameters, argument list, etc. We'll write it. So DEF, lambda are called what? Keywords. Similarly in OOPS, if you come to develop a classes concept, to develop a programmer defined data type with a classes concept, we use a keyword called what? Class. Even in take it C++, you take it. Even you take Java also, you take it .NET also, you take it in Python also. Which keyword we use? So I'm writing to develop programmer defined data type. I'm writing few points, students. To develop programmer defined data types by using which concept? Classes concept. We use a keyword. We use a keyword class. We use a keyword called what? Class. Did you understand? Every language class concept is using, and the class concept is not any of the language facility. It is one of the object oriented facility. Why we go for class concept? For customized data, for customized operation. That can be done by development of your own data type. That data type is possible by which keyword? Class. Tell me, how do you write a class now? Tentatively you tell me. Class name. What is my class name? Student. Done. What is student is called? Class name. One more time. Class list. Python developers already developed what? List. What is this list is? Class. Which class? Predefined class. What is student? Programmer defined class. List is acting as a predefined data type or not? Our student is called what? Programmer defined class. Programmer defined class is nothing but our own data type or not? So I am writing next line. You tell me every class name every class name defined by what? Programmers. Defined by programmers is called what? Programmer defined data type. Programmer defined data type. Did you understand my point? Every class name defined by the programmers is called programmer defined class name. Programmer defined data type. Is clear? If anybody asks you tomorrow, what is a class concept? You have to tell like this. What is the class concept, students? Purpose of classes concept. Why? What is the need of development of our own data type? To develop it, we use a keyword and we go for what? Definition of class. And these points are important. Now I'll show you a small description for you students. A small class concept I will show you. You please observe it. Now I'm going to say. Come on, read out whatever the points I said, everybody. The purpose of class concept is to develop programmer defined data type to develop any real-time application in OOPS. Real-time application in where? OOPS. The purpose of programmer development data type is that to store customized data and to perform customized operations. To develop programmer defined data type, we use classes concept by using keyword class. Programmatically, every class name is treated as a programmer defined data type. Every program in OOPS must start with a classes concept. See, a class is a collection of data members and methods. Methods are nothing but what? Functions. Why we say for us OOPS is easy? Because we are having good knowledge in functions. I feel it. Whether you are having or not, that is a different story. But I feel like that. Next, when we define a class, memory space is not created for data members and methods, but whose memory space is created when we create an object. Whose memory space is created when we create objects. Technically, all the data members and methods of class will come to object with a memory space. Did you understand? This is about what? Classes concept. Anybody ask you about classes concept, no need to give tons of theory. This is the cream of points you explain, then programming will start. Tomorrow class, when I come back, I will talk about what? Syntax for defining what? Class in Python. Syntax for defining class in Python. Even if you are a Java programmer, take these things as granted. Even you are a .NET programmer, take this as granted. Syntax for defining class in Python is different. Syntax for defining class in Java different. Syntax for defining class in other languages are different. And we are entering into syntax for defining class in Python tomorrow session. Are you understanding today? So this we will stop it. Tomorrow class we'll go for it. Online students, did you understand this concept too? So far what I discussed? So tomorrow class, I'll go for what? Syntax for defining a class. After speaking for half an hour about the syntax, we'll go for what? Programming. So don't miss tomorrow class. And this OOPS principles, don't miss it. Very, very important class. Okay. So, Kiran, what are the apps presently using? I told already in the class, day 1, day 2, I used to say 7 AM, real-time applications of what? Real-time applications of what, you know? Real-time applications developed by using Python. Real-time applications developed by using Python. I hope in the day 1, I told I hope so. In the beginning days, are you remembering beginning days? What I discussed it, real-time applications developed by using Python. Are you remembering that? Beginning days, 22 applications I wrote it. So Kiran is asking nowadays, in the history it is available, huh? Okay. In the history it is available. Maybe I did not save it, but it is there in your Google Drive class, right? In the Google Drive class, it is available. Real-time applications developed by using Python language. I told already in the class. Okay. No? So anyhow, we will be saying that. We'll stopping that. Tomorrow class, when we come back, we'll go for syntax for defining the classes. Right. Thank you, students. All the best. Online students, you can hold on. You can talk to you.